Hi there, my name is Tally, and I would like to thank you for checking out my YouTube video. I'm going to be tasting Paddleford Creek and talking to y'all a little bit about bourbon. So first, for a whiskey to qualify as bourbon, it must be produced in the United States of America and contain at least 51% corn in the grain mixture. Straight bourbon has to be aged for a minimum of 2 years and can contain no added colorants, flavorings, or other spirits. However, bourbon that is not labeled as straight bourbon has no minimum aging period. And blended bourbons do sometimes contain added colorants, flavorings, and spirits. Paddleford Creek, which is what I'm tasting today, is simply labeled as a small batch bourbon. It is charcoal filtered, which some will argue makes it not a true bourbon. Extra smooth, though, is also on the label, and that is definitely true. So, this whiskey's got shortcomings, though, as well as strengths, and we'll be reviewing those over the course of this video. So, first thing is first, you need your tasting glass. When tasting whiskey, the ideal shape is the tulip. I'm not sure if this is precisely the tulip that is ideal, but it works for me. So, just to keep everything where it's supposed to be, I'm not going to refill my glass, but just drop more in here so you can tell that it definitely came out of this bottle. Okay, so first thing is first, when tasting whiskey, you want to start with the aroma. So take the glass by the stem. Don't grasp the bowl because the heat from your fingers will warm the whiskey. So you want to swirl it. This opens up the aromas. Not sure how long you're supposed to do this, but so if you want to examine the legs, take your glass and tilt it like so, and just do one of these. And down the sides of the glass, you should see the legs of the whiskey. You can also do this with wine. Legs are an indicator of strength and alcohol content. So, for the aroma, you want to get up close and personal with the whiskey, you know, just like so, you know, and you want to do that a couple of times just to make sure you're not missing anything. So, we said hello. How are you? So, what I get from this, something sweet. Nothing very floral, but sweetness, something maybe a little nutty, something like caramel, toffee. Nothing really syrupy, which is good, because that gives me an instant headache, but I think this is nice. So, tasting whiskey, take a taste, and you want to try to hold it on your tongue and pull it across as many different regions of your tongue as possible. So this way you taste the whiskey with each kind of taste bud and gets all of the flavors. So here we go. Definitely getting notes of toffee there. Really smooth finish. This has almost no burn to it. And I actually like a bit of burn with my whiskey. Let's take another taste. Yeah. It's a little bit woody. I don't think the wood in this is very pronounced, though. I mostly get nuts, caramel. And for me, I find that's kind of it. This is not the most complex whiskey, but it's very accessible, so I think this makes a good gift for a friend who's just starting to try bourbons beyond Jim Beam. This is very smooth. It's very mellow. Like, it's definitely not my favorite bourbon or favorite American whiskey. It's just a little too smooth. But, I mean, depending on what you like, that can be a very good point about this bourbon. It is very smooth, it's very easy drinking, and it's quite inexpensive as well. I bought this, I think, for $19 at Total Wine. It's actually won a silver medal at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. I'm not sure how meaningful that is, though. To be honest, I don't know much about the San Francisco Spirits Competition. The weaknesses of this bourbon are, it's not the most exciting, but for $19, come on. And then the thing that really bugs me about this is the lack of information concerning the distillery that produces this whiskey. So I'm not sure if you've noticed, but most distilleries these days are quite eager to share the story and history of the brands they produce, quite happy to share the history of the distillery. I'm not even entirely sure which distillery produces this whiskey. On the side of the bottle, here, it says, produced and bottled by Paddleford Creek Spirits, Princeton, Minnesota. However, after searching for that distillery, I came up with basically nothing. I did a little more research, and I found out it's also connected to Phillips Distilling, which is also based in Princeton, Minnesota. However, Paddleford Creek is not listed on their website as a part of their products family. So, still not entirely sure who makes this and where this comes from. And again, as it's not a straight bourbon, it probably is blended with other things, which is not a big deal. I would just like to know what it is. Anyway, but I think this is a really good bourbon for people just starting to explore whiskey, and it's also good to serve at parties, because larger parties, because it's pleasant enough to drink on its own, but it's inexpensive enough that you're not going to lose your mind if you see someone mixing it with something else. I'll certainly buy this again, but not my favorite bourbon, not my favorite American whiskey. So maybe don't believe the hype, but for $19, I think it's worth giving it a chance, especially as a mixing whiskey. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I will see y'all again soon. Thanks. Bye. Bye.